Hello, everyone. This is Mary Ellen coming to you live from Moonrise Cottage today for a somewhat impromptu uh, water sign element reading for the month of September. And I wanted to welcome everybody here. There are the cards. Look at that. So, as I've been doing for a while, if you're new and you don't know, my spirit guides have been asking me to start with the cards and just to start the flow of energy within you and for you, Spirit is saying. So gaze into the cards for just a moment, and I am going to go forward as soon as we are ready to. Um, okay, sorry, I'm getting a little bit of a download. All right, Spirit's talking about looking into the stream of the energy, and I love the phrase "looking into the stream." All about the things that are happening, the places we've been to, and where we are coming back to. So, hi Marie, glad to have you here. So, I'm going to chime over and say hello. Hi, good to be here with you. For those of you that are new and don't know, I use the beautiful Celtic Wisdom Tarot deck that was developed by Caitlin Matthews and has been a real guiding force in my own life and for my YouTube channel. So, Spirit is talking about taking this journey together, and there are things that are changing for all of us, obviously. Certainly for me, the eclipse season was a very deep dive, and I've not come all the way out the other side yet. So I have a lot to share with you. I'm going to talk just a little bit at some point about what's going on here, my deepening process. Spirit's talking about as a reflection. We're looking deeper today into the effects of the trines and the eclipses. Boy, Mercury's done. I shouldn't be tripping over my tongue, but deeper into all the things that were with us in order to carry us forward. And for the water sign element, it's all about flow, and that to which you will devote yourself. So that's the overarching theme that we're going to explore. So I'm going to toggle back and I'm going to jump right in. If you need to run and get a cup of tea or a glass of water, do. I have my water here. I think this is going to go long, which is why I decided. Okay, Spirit's interrupted me. I decided to change how I'm doing things for a number of reasons. I'll explain them over time. One is that my spirit guides have decided that what's coming through is that I am ready to do the things that I've been preparing for. So I'm not certain. Spirit's pushing me a little bit. We're going to talk more deeply about energy and about your soul travel and what it is to be in love with yourself, in love with your soul, and to be in direct communication with that. I'm going to toggle over to the cards and keep talking, okay? So before I forget, just a little bit about how this is going to work. I am, once again, like I did last month, I am going to sit back a little bit. I'm going to allow my spirit guides to speak and find their way through the reading. I am going to talk a little bit about the astrology. As most of you know, I'm not an astrologer, but I have been pushed in that direction, so I'm making some initial steps. So I sort of looked and thought, all right, I see what the messages are here, but what's the astrology? So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then going forward, a spirit keeps telling me there are going to be different kinds of readings coming out. I have some inklings about that. I don't have, it hasn't fully been uncovered yet. So because there's a lot of material, I'm going to jump right in, and I will interact with the people on the chat at the end when the reading is done. So I have a place to sort of clip it off and publish this as the reading for September. So, love to have your comments. I'm so grateful that everyone is here. I want to express my love and my deep gratitude to everyone who has been journeying with me along my journey since I came to YouTube about a year and a half ago, a little more maybe. And I want you to know that your presence has had an enormous impact on what is happening here and what I am doing and the ways in which I travel in order to go more deeply into my mission, which is to be of service to you and to all the souls that I encounter, or that the Spirit's saying, or the souls that encounter me along the way. So the journeying that we're going to do together is deepening. As many of you know, I'm going to begin to offer individual and some group journeys here at Moonrise Cottage. So I am deep in a preparation phase and looking very much forward to that. I will put out a little brief video about that, and it is going to evolve over time. So I'll share some of that with you. Okay. So, my goodness, going forward from there, what happened this month? I sat down to try and start doing the readings, and cards just kept coming out and coming out and coming out, and I was shoving them back in the deck going, wait, Spirit, what are you trying to say? And finally I realized, no, the message came through. Do the readings in cohorts, groupings. So when we take a look at this reading and the cards that are here, as I was meditating on this a little bit more this morning, my perception, if you will, is that the far left column, generally speaking, Spirit says, is about the spiritual journey that you're on. And moving to the right of that, those are the cards that indicate the individual set points. So we see Cancer on the bottom, then Scorpio, then Pisces, and then some more spirit message, the effect, Spirit says, on the top. Next to that, we see the human journey, the things that are happening, the places into which you are traveling. And the far right column is all about the outcomes and weaving the story together. Spirit says the left-hand side and the right-hand side are deeply connected, and then we see the outcome card. All right. So the other thing I just want to chime in with and acknowledge is that it's unlikely, let me toggle over for a second so you guys can see me. It's unlikely that I'm going to have the time to hold up all the cards individually. Apologies for that. Some of them I will, and we're going to go through the runes. I know you see the runes on the bottom. So very deep reading, a lot of messaging from Spirit with an enormous amount of love flowing through. Gosh. All right. So if you will join me just for a moment, let's just take a moment and center ourselves. Look into the cards. Follow the energy there and just breathe for a few moments. And even if you don't know the meaning of the runes, just take a look. What's the energy that you feel coming from each individual rune that sits at the bottom row of each column? And I'm just going to focus for a minute, talk with Spirit, and ask Spirit to start the discussion. Spirit is talking about your heart, quite obviously, your heartbeat. And the message is coming through is what is your heart beating for? What are your desires? What is the achievement you're trying to attain? And we're going to talk a lot about Spirit's been saying this word attenuation, wanting me and wanting us to pay a lot of attention to the different energetic aspects that make up the water sign element. And so going forward, there's a desire on my spirit guides to help you meld deeper into that and to help everyone understand that you are part of a grouping for a purpose and that purpose is attempting to come forward. The energies are aligned. We're actually moving in, Spirit's calling it the closing days of the year. So um, we're moving into the autumn equinox. There are more astrological events coming forward, and then we'll be moving into the days of deep introspection, going into winter, and coming to the days of the winter solstice and the turn of the year. So Spirit's saying we're seeing all of that foreshadowed in the cards. So I think where Spirit is wanting to start with some discussion about each element and a little bit about the astrology. So we're going to focus on the column of cards that is the second to the left. All right. So when the cards came out, the way they displayed themselves, we were saying, was done for a particular purpose. And that had to do with the way the eclipses happened and the trines and Spirit saying, and the magnification of Pluto standing across the sky from the water sign elements and Earth. So if you have any interest and you want to have some discussion, just as a side note, about your rising sign, later this afternoon I'm going to do the same process with the Earth signs, and tomorrow I'm going to do fire and air. All right, so Spirit's saying start with the rune. Okay, so that rune is the rune for flow, and it is about the water element. And I've been talking a lot over time, I think mostly through the Cancer readings, honestly, about the flow, the sacred flow of the water element and what that flow brings to us. So I'm actually going to transition over and show you this rune. There it is. Okay. It's really beautiful. So Spirit wants to talk start with that discussion. So I'm actually going to read to you from the book. All right, one moment. So this rune is about unseen powers that are activated in the month of September. And if you look, again, Spirit's referencing Cancer, definitely, but the whole triad. And Spirit continues to speak about the elemental groupiness, the triads. And that Spirit's saying that is going to be woven into the story going forward. And there's going to be, Spirit's calling it a request to, let me toggle back for a sec. So there's a request coming forward. Okay, Spirit's saying, I'm going to be utilized to speak more about the flow of the energy and what that really means. And how does energy travel? And how do I experience that? How do I share that with you as my process deepens? Spirit wants everyone to come along for the ride. Okay, so we are talking about flow. The flow of the energy through the water element triad. And it's just, the water element has, not to be make a pun, but boy, the flow, it's so intensely beautiful, and you feel it in your life. I know you do because I speak to a lot of people, and often when a water element sign person comes here, it is about the flow that they're trying to achieve in their life. Many people speak about feeling blocked, and so there's a lot of intuitive information coming through about that too. So that's the mission, right? If it's true that we come here to learn about ourselves, about our destiny, about our mission, Spirit's suddenly starting to talk about mission, okay? And I know that a lot of you are focused, hyper-focused really, on achieving your mission, because we are all, myself included, have been very deeply assisted over the last year and a half, at least since I've been here, clearly before that, with coming to the understanding of our purpose, which is, as you know, because I say it all the time, you. I just, okay, so here's what Spirit's saying. Imagine if you came across another person, and I know people talk about twin flames, and I've discussed that a little bit, but if you came across someone in your life who reflected pure love energy in your direction, through their eyes, the window to the soul, imagine the experience of being seen that way. And this is your purpose, to see yourself through the eyes of a twin flame in terms of what people understand that's about. Spirit still has a lot to say about that. I'm not going to get into it right now. I think those conversations are coming forward. Spirit's wanting to speak now about, self-love, self-understanding, visualizing ourselves, being in the flow of energy. If that's your issue, Spirit says, meaning, are you a water sign? Yes, it is your issue. It always is. So understand that as part of your purpose. And Spirit says, don't beat yourself up about that. Just embrace it and love the journey that you're on. And I know it sounds like a platitude, but I've come to believe it's really true. If we can literally apply love, that kind of radiant love, and let me talk about that because we see it. Look at that column. It is about radiance. Every single set point is about radiance. So that was a long transition. I'm going to go back to the runes. I gotta find my little reading glasses. All right. So unseen powers are active. Powers that nourish, shape, and connect. The attributes of this rune are water, fluidity, ebb, flow of emotions, careers, relationships. Laguz encourages you to immerse yourself in the experience of living without having to evaluate or understand. So, again, it's all those things that we know that perhaps, there's a difference between what you know intellectually and what you come to know in your heart and in your psyche, and Spirit saying at your third eye, at your crown chakra. The things that you know there have no words, do they? It is about energy. And so, Spirit's saying that's where we're going. All right. So, the rune that has to do with water and flow and that which conducts often signals a time for cleansing, for deep revaluing, reorganizing, and realigning. It speaks to the understanding, the satisfaction of emotional needs. It speaks to the awakening of the intuitive or the lunar side of your nature. And there we are. I believe the full moon this month is in Cancer. Actually, it's in the 10th house of Cancer. So I'm going to put that on hold for a second. Spirit's pushing me to talk about it, but I want to wait until we finish this thought. So you are being encouraged to immerse yourself in this experience, into the mystery of it, without, let go of your need to understand it. Just experience what it is to be a being involved in the flow and conductivity in order to awaken the intuitive lunar side of your nature. The moon draws us toward union, and that's the card, and that's why Spirit picked it, okay? It's about merging, sacred merging. And if you look, Spirit says, look one step up. That's the card for Scorpio, and the one on top is this card for Pisces. So it's all about merging into the self, definitely with other people. You're going to come into, Spirit saying, if you can continue to follow this pathway and be patient with the unfolding inside yourself, you are going to become able to merge in the ways that you really, truly desire. With the people around you, with the world at large, maybe into a committed relationship. We see indications of that there. But again, primarily, it's about becoming able within yourself. Because if you are not fully present and fully aware and fully able, you cannot be met if that's your human desire. Okay, Spirit just keeps interrupting. So, it's a time for cleansing, reorganizing, reevaluating, and realigning. It's a rune of deep knowing, and it may call you to study spiritual matters in order to become ready for self transformation. Success lies in contacting your intuitive wisdom and attuning to your own rhythms. This is a rune of self relating rightly to the larger self. It signifies what alchemists call sacred marriage, conjunctio. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. So, in fairy tales, it's the place that travelers finally reach, the end point in the story, where there's a happily ever after moment. So, let's talk for a minute before I jump forward a little bit about Cancer this month, since this is the card for Cancer. And it's funny the way the cards came out. I started putting the cards down in the traditional way, and then they just kept jumping out of the deck, and I was overwhelmed with cards. But interestingly enough, Spirit's laughing at me in the background. Interestingly enough, that column that we're looking at came out exactly like that. It's really interesting. That's the way Spirit wanted me to put them down. I didn't get it, and I was resisting. But there it is, and now it's completely clear to me why it's there in that way. Okay, so Cancer this month. And please go and look at your favorite astrologer. I'm just going to briefly gloss over, all right? So it is about taking action this month and moving forward. It's about releasing. So as you move through the month and you come toward the full moon, understand that that is your culmination moment, when you can move things in your life into action. None of the water signs have any personal planets in retrograde this month. So on the 10th of the month, Venus and Jupiter arrive into the 5th house. And romance, partnership, business, all those things. And there we see the indications for all the aspects and the culmination point, which of course is the full moon. So as Spirit always says, understand first, we're talking about your relationship with yourself, the yin and yang within you, the male and female. So Spirit saying, be your own best friend. Be your own romantic partner. Love yourself. There's a lot coming through. I keep getting interrupted. So that you can prepare. Okay, so you know what? Here's the message. Okay, hang on a sec. So what Spirit's talking about is, and actually this started coming through, I think, about a month ago. Just like someone who is committed to a spiritual path, prepares for that pathway, prepares for an initiation moment, prepares for, okay, Spirit's talking about the steps of devotion, the devotional steps through which we must be willing to go. Just as you perform those actions, and I know many of you have, it's the same pathway if what you want is a relationship. And Spirit's telling me to talk about it. Isn't that funny? Because I was not allowed to before this. So now Spirit's saying, look, if that's what you want, prepare yourself in a very serious way so that you know that you are actually present and available, or else chaos ensues. So I'm going to toggle back. It was an interesting side note. So from this time forward, it's time to turn again and face the future feeling reassured and being prepared to share your good fortune. And the way you share is significant because it relates to the sun's power to foster life and illuminate all things with its light. So again, as we go through the cycles of the moon, understand there are a lot of moments of illumination throughout the course of every month. We see an indication above the Cancer card about that illumination. And I will get there. But Spirit wants to just finish this notion of the purpose of Cancer and the placement of Cancer within the triad this month, and why Cancer energy is being utilized as the foundation. And I think Spirit is talking about the depth and the width of a Cancer. And I'm getting images of the ocean. So from that overarching message about being aligned in a very broad way with your energy as a water element. So whether you're a Scorpio or a Pisces, understand that you draw from the Cancer energy. That's why it's on the bottom, taking up the position of a foundation in a sense. All right, so back to astrology just for a sec. Thankfully, I think as we all know, Mars is going direct. Thank God. Right? Mars and Mercury direct. Hallelujah. And for Cancer, and therefore all the water signs, this means that it's going direct, and it's going to be in the 8th house. I forgot to say that. So again, finance, about esoteric, really deep exploration into the sacred. It's about taking action in those places, the ability to have good fortune in those places in your life. It obviously also has to do with romance, right? The 8th house is the house of sexual relating. And look, Spirit's saying, and look at the card above that, right? So clearly, Spirit just wants to, I think, now finally come out and acknowledge, yes, understand. If you're going to decide to be in a literal human relationship with someone that involves your sexuality, where are you this month? What is it you're seeking? What is it that you are offering? And if you're going to come to union with another person in that state of being, what does it mean? How do you affect them? How does your energy cause them to understand themselves? Which is what that's all about. Deep, well, all right. Spirit wants to go off on that. Most of us who are on a spiritual path, we understand that. Spirit says, it's not, okay, like I was talking about when I talked about the person that I had a dream journey with for many, many years. It's not about the sex, right? You could decide to go there if you want, but only if you're really clear. So honor yourself first and show up. And then once you are present, if you really decide to allow someone into your life in that way, you then have a responsibility to show up for them and be with them. And if you have Mars in your 8th house in a specific period of time, Spirit's saying, when you decide to become sexual with somebody, be responsible enough to understand what that means, right? And be mature and evolved enough to be open and to talk about it in a really brave way. And this is how we build the tapestry. It's about being brave, it's about being honest, and it's about showing up for the experience that's being offered to you, whether it involves romance or just deep relating. Coming into, Spirit's talking about union, a place of union. Every moment is a moment where you can come into union if you decide. But when you look at your astrology, and I know we all do it, I do it. As I go through the month, I look and, play with YouTube and things like that to help myself understand what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, what the potential is. So Spirit's talking about, as we come more deeply into the ability for union, because we are moving through the light body chakras, closer, further away from our what people call 3D reality, and into across the 4D. That's where we're all going. Certainly anybody who shows up here, and then into this 5th dimension. That's what that card is speaking of. All these cards, that's what all of them are talking about. Okay, so Spirit's saying, love yourself enough to really know and to ponder these things very deeply, so that when these moments of joining and union and illumination and completion come forward in the cycle of a month, you'll actually be able to be present or decide consciously, I'm not present. I'm not available for that right now because I'm taking time with myself. So I think the full moon comes in your 10th house, lighting up your career. What is it that you want to bring into completion or illumination? Is it a journey with another person? Is it a journey with yourself? Do those things affect your career? How do your relationships affect the things that you want to manifest? Some of us walk a very solitary life, but the truth is, everyone around us affects us and we affect them, depending on how we stand in our own energy and the way in which we share that with others, consciously or unconsciously. So Spirit's talking about be conscious of the deep places that you're in, especially this month, in order to finish off, in a sense, the journey of the eclipse and the trines and the power that came through Pluto that is working very hard for the benefit of all. So, forward motion for all the water signs. It is about a clearing in your internal life. And Spirit's talking about, and that's one of the reasons we're going through the reading this way, to help you understand from each water sign perspective. Those energies do affect you. And so, what is the attenuation of those energies? And if you need some energy from your Scorpio counterpart, look at it from this perspective. Go and find out, because it's always going to affect you somehow. All right, so let's move on to Scorpio. We see, oh, you know what? Pardon me. Okay. Spirit does want me to show. Okay, so that's the dialogue of art. There's the full moon. There's the yin and yang. And look at the mystical knowledge that's coming in at the full moon. It's pretty amazing to me. Given the way all the alignments the Spirit just talked about about the astrology, this is your culmination moment if you happen to be a Cancer. True for all the water signs. Understand the flow of the energy through your cohort. All right? Deep union. That's okay. So, wow, Spirit is talking. All right. So Spirit wants to talk about union, I guess, while we're on this column of cards, because it's indicated there so deeply. Okay, so this, in a sense, and along with the card for Scorpio, to some degree, we're going to talk about that. This is what union's all about. Whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're entering a romance, the Spirit keeps saying, this is what it's about. And you struggle through your relationships with yourself and with other people in order to achieve this. Because this, in a sense, is the highest form of union. It's about something that looks and feels like that. And you know what? Gosh, it's kind of a weird, cloudy, dark day here, so apologies for the light. So that's Merlin and his sister. She built this tower for him in a moment when he was not aligned with himself, in order to help him see, oh, I get it. I just realized. Okay, so that's what Spirit is saying, all right? So we have this column. Let me toggle back. So we have this column of cards. It's the tower to give you all these different perspectives through which to see yourself and the different attributes and attenuations and energy strings. Spirit's talking about a lot of strings of energy, a lot of that stuff. I see that stuff a lot in my own travel. So Spirit's now using me to start talking about that. All right. So please understand, it's a foundation. Yes, that in this column indicates Cancer, but it is a foundation and it's deep. Right? So coming in from the universe, the pull of the moon that brings illumination and a certain flow of energy. Right? And then we see the next card above that, indicating, I guess, the Scorpio aspect of the reading. And I love that this came out that way because I think it was last month. I've been in very deep in my own process, so I've literally lost track of the days, in a sense. I, yeah, Spirit saying, but I've been traveling. Well, I'm not going to get. I'll tell you later. Okay, so last month, this card came out in the Scorpio reading, and it is about obviously fire, passion, union, coming together in a divinely ordered way in order to have a particular type of journey that has to do with having released yourself from some form of bondage. There's the card. So, the short form of this story is this couple was being held back from each other by factors that were going on having to do with other people who were trying to prevent them from being together. And they had to find a way through their skill set to create what they wanted. So last month, Scorpio was going through this process of coming into themselves in this kind of a way to bond with their own energy, pardon me, and their own ability to, okay, similar message coming through, experience the purpose of their passion. Okay. So, as the set point in the trilogy of water sign energy, and Spirit keeps doing this, the string. And I, like last month, I am literally seeing strings of energy in the sky around me, in the air around me. All right. So, Scorpio says, Spirit says, Scorpio is the passion holder, right? That is what Scorpio wants. Okay, Spirit's talking about sex again. All right, I'm a Virgo, so I'd rather not, but I'm going for it. I'm going to have to click into the airy side of my nature. Okay, Spirit. Okay, so Scorpio is, as we all know, okay, Spirit says Scorpio gets blamed for being hypersexual, right? And if you know anything about Scorpio, it's not really about that, but it is through their sexuality often that they experience union with the divine. That's the purpose for them. So it, again, Spirit's saying it's not really about the sex. It's about that. It's utilizing passion, the nature of passion, in order to reach through a partner into the mind of the divine, right? So again, whoops, a lot of responsibility, huh? When we think about that. So as you go through the month, let's take a look at the astrology for Scorpio. I'll toggle back to the cards. All right, so there's a new moon in the 11th house coming, all about community. The ability to ignite your passion for community, to bond yourselves to others for a higher purpose. In the first part of the month, Scorpio actually has Venus in the 12th house. Okay, so that's what Spirit was just talking about, right? It's perfect to engage with yourself very deeply and to be able to look deeply into that part of your nature. The deepest part, okay, Spirit's talking about the shadow side, which is not necessarily negative. It's the okay, Spirit's talking about the place in which you live. So if we understand a little bit about the Scorpio, Spirit's saying where they live, right? There's this notion of, Scorpio is this creature that lives in the water, has a little cave or a little rock that it lives under. And yet, despite that, the driving force of a Scorpio is that kind of union. It's interesting. And I think because it resides in that part of a Scorpio's nature, of course that's what it looks like. There's no doubt in my mind that that's what that function is. And so, again, Spirit's saying, understand it, honor it, fine, go for it. Spirit says, but like the Spirit saying, like the lecture that came through about Cancer or about these things in general, understand. So, okay, Spirit's talking about fifth dimension again. We're moving in that direction. And, I talked a little bit about sometime when I did another live stream, this notion that we're going to have these experiences more and more. We're going to come across people. We're not meant to be lovers with every single person that comes and brings us an awakening. That would be, in my opinion, okay, you know what? In my opinion, as a Virgo, no thanks. That's a little too chaotic for me. The Spirit's talking about being careful not to splinter yourself in this drive, because it is going to be a drive because Mars and Venus and all those things that are direct now and the placement they have in your chart. So, Scorpio, as you go through your month, understand you have Venus in the 12th house. Your love of devotion, the way you have this moment to connect with yourself very deeply is profound this month. And there may be, because you're going deep into the 12th house with Venus, and then Mars on the 11th goes direct in your 4th house of coming home. How, home. Where do you live? What is it like to be in the home that you want to develop? The other thing that happens this month for Scorpio is that on the 22nd, the sun actually moves into your 12th house. So, when you think about the combination of all those things, this is your deep quiet, your deepest place. So how is that you want to share that with yourself? What is it that you would like to explore there? Obviously, it's about union with the self. And there may be somebody that walks into your life, Spirit saying, this is the perfect moment for a past life co-walker to arrive. So Scorpio, heads up. Okay, I guess. It's interesting how these things evolve through the different set points. And what then, if that happens, all the things that have been previously said, how do you pay attention to that? What would you like to do about it? You're deeply in your own house. Do you want to invite somebody in? Do you want to share your energy with that person? And if so, for what purpose? And again, are you able to be clear with yourself? Are you willing to be brave enough to understand what's happening for you in those moments as you strive toward having an ascension experience? Cancer, deep, right? I mean, I know it sounds silly, but watery, just mystical. Spirit saying, in a way that's a little bit more calm than what the Scorpios have to put up with, okay? Acknowledging that the Cancer people have a lot of emotional set point as well. It brings to them a set of experiences. These moments, I think, because we're talking about Venus in the 12th house, the sun in the 12th house, we're talking about coming deeply into the ability to balance, if you will, your inner world. And then, for you, Scorpio, the 6th house on the 24th is the house that hosts the full moon. More balance for your inner world and time to move forward. Time to maybe have this ascension moment this month while you rest, in a sense, and share energy with the Cancer set point and understand the fullness of all of that. This is the type of flow that you may experience because this is what the universe is bringing to you. And understand that it is flow and it is about connection with yourself and with the divine in all the ways that Spirit is and the cosmos, if you will, are bringing forward for you to explore. So there's a message coming through about don't be afraid. Let me talk a little for a sec. So Spirit's talking about coming to a place of security within yourself. If you are able and willing to be brave, it doesn't mean that you're perfect, because you're not. That's what bravery is, right? You go forward despite your fear. And if you're willing to tolerate the fear that you might stumble and you might make a mistake, in whatever way you're trying to find union, or with whom, if it happens to be another person, acknowledge to yourself it's okay to be imperfect. And if it happens to be with another person, hey, here's where I'm at. This is what I'd like. This is why I want it. Are you available? And I might make a mistake. I'm new at this. I'm learning. Right? This is what builds the tapestry. This is the way that we begin to understand that we are moving into in ourselves as individual personhoods, Spirit says. We can acknowledge and visualize. Okay, hang on a second. All right, 3 things. Acknowledge and visualize, and actually see and understand that you are moving in that direction. And it may not happen all in a moment, like that. It's a process. And your water sign set point helps you with your process if you understand the way the energy moves and the way the cosmos moves, and the very deep opportunities that come to you to be able to step in, even if it's just for one moment. Step in to what people call the 5D. I have lots of other words for that. I'm using those words for now because I know it helps other people understand what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to go deeper. I think that's why Spirit's changing up how I'm doing things, because it's time. All right. So there's a tolerance that needs to build to be in that place. And it can be shocking and terrifying. And, I personally think that's a good measure of what the whole twin flame experience is. You have a 5D moment. Maybe it's a 7D moment. And if you're standing in the 3D and all of a sudden it comes right in your face, right? Then you free yourself from your human limitations of understanding what those moments are for, right? Some people are going to be mated, of course. Something else is happening. And that's why Spirit talks through me, anyways, about the tapestry. And it has to do with that stuff. So I'm going to toggle back and keep going. So yeah, Scorpio. Allow yourself to go deep into that playground, Spirit says. Have fun there. Understand where you're standing and why, and what that means when you experience yourself. And if you decide to interact from that place, who are you in that moment? How are you interacting? And okay, Spirit's talking about subterranean. Okay, so what are the hidden motives? Because we know they're there, right? Are you brave enough to talk about them so you can actually achieve what it is you want? I'll show you this card, right? That stuff. Spirit's calling it that stuff. See all the stars around these people, right? Transformation in all the ways I always talk about it, right? They're the garments. It's an elopement, right? When you run away with yourself into this place of union inside yourself. I think primarily that's what it's about. But when you have the aspects that you have this month, going through the month, you're in a certain part of your power, aren't you? How do you want to wield that? Are you a spiritual warrior? Spirit says, oh, they're getting a little snarky. Are you a spiritual warrior or not? Right? Show up for yourself, and then stay clear and centered. And if you want to venture out and be in the world, see what that brings to you. But stand clear in yourself, okay? So Pisces, how much do we all love the Pisces energy? Okay, Spirit's talking about Pisces being the icing on the cake. All right, so let's do the card first. All right, there we go. The quest of art. The art of all the things I've been talking about, right? And when I see this card, I always think about, sort of the moment of emerging where you leap through all that's been binding you and you leap out into your life. And yes, you are seen by someone else. That someone else is yourself, of course, but it's also the people around you. So, similar type of discussion about what it is to be a water sign element. Understanding that whatever it is that Scorpio's going through, it's touching you. Because, here's the display of the type of passion that comes through for Pisces. It is all about passion. It is about the deep, mysterious passion of both the spirits talking about the sun and the moon, right? And we see that here. So this is about going really deeply into your nature, striving towards source energy, with all the symbolic meaning that that notion entails. And I love the flush on the cheeks of this person who is transformed just by having the vision. So that's part of what Spirit wants you to understand. Spirit says all of you, everybody, certainly this month for a Pisces. And I say it, all you got to do is stand in your place and you can change someone's life. You don't have to do anything really sometimes. Be deeply in your energy. Understand it in all the ways I've been talking about. And understand that when you leave your house and you go out into the world and you literally radiate yourself outward with love, you can change the world just by standing in it. And it's the most beautiful, complex, simple thing that is involved in the experience of being alive. All right. So I'm going to toggle back so you can see it in concert with the other cards. Okay, astrology for Pisces. Here's what I've been able to sort of focus on, right? When I was skipping around YouTube, trying to pick out some plums for you. It is about taking action. That's why the card looks that way, right? Cancer and Scorpio, yeah, there's action, but it's more about union of the self, union of the divine, with the divine rather, maybe union with another person if you should so decide. And the energy moves in this direction towards Pisces. And in a sense, because your cohort is vibrating and experiencing in this way, it is helping you have your quest. Okay, that's the quest of art. So, Cancer's having a dialogue with themselves and with somebody else. That's Spirit saying that's very precious to them. So there is, your water signs. There's going to be a lot of relating going on, obviously, right? Spirit's laughing at me. I'm a Virgo. I hide in the woods, and sometimes I creep out into the field in front of my house in order to have an experience, right? And Spirit says that's the difference, right? That's the attenuated difference in a sense. And the way in which I want to relate is different, right? Look at the way the water signs want to relate. Beautiful, passionate on every level, on every card, right? So, Pisces, as the energy moves through your cohorts and you reach into the astrology of your moments this month, it is about going on a quest. It's time to take action. You can know inside your being that these moments are for moving forward and gaining momentum. The moment when the salmon leaps out of the water to catch a fly, to capture that which you would like to manifest in your life. And the beauty of you moving into that moment in your life changes somebody else, changes the people around you. It's always true no matter what your astrological set point is, but it's profound for a water sign because of what a water sign represents. So you are entering this moment when you have the freedom to rise up and go deep into that part of your aspect because you have Mars in your 12th house. Action from within the deepest part of your nature, that which is secret, that which is sacred, that which connects you to the divine in that way, as explained by astrology, as a way of understanding how is it that a Pisces takes a move, reaches a moment where the energies are correct, and takes a movement toward the divine. How does a Pisces do that? A Pisces does that when Mars is present because of the nature of a Pisces, right? So it's a very important moment, I think, this month for everybody, but Pisces, that's what's going on for you. So you have this leap. It's a leap of faith, it's a leap forward, and it's also a leap out into the open, isn't it? So that you can be seen. And you know, the sensitivity set points of all the water signs. Pisces, the way you have your empathic life is profound. And when you are able to ground yourself, in a sense, and come into this deep place of mystery, and Spirit keeps talking about grounding yourself, become able to tolerate that. So I think the mission going forward for Pisces is to have that kind of a journey. Anything that is present in your life, that in places in which you feel stuck, something that you feel is holding you back, you are being released in these moments because of the after effects of the eclipses and because of the astrology of the moment through the month of September. And let's all, Spirit says, keep remembering we're coming to an equinox, another moment of shift and change and power, the shift in the seasons. So Spirit's saying, what is it the season for? What is the season that's coming forward as we go through this exploration? So what I love about the card that's on the top of this column is the dialogue. So the water sign element starts the month with dialogue, sacred dialogue, really bonded, really present, under the light of the watery aspect of a Cancer, in the way a Cancer would be engaging in dialogue. It's always a little bit mysterious for Cancers. They move sideways, right? They don't go straight direct, right? None of the water signs do. So again, understand that part of you and ask yourself, well, if that's true about my nature, it's a form of protection. It's a way of being. What are the places within me that would like to be connected, that might be causing a challenge because I don't do the direct thing very often, right? And so what does direct motion mean for me? How do I achieve that? What is the way that I can bond with myself and other people around me in order to have this moment to start a dialogue? So it's all about dialogue this month with yourself and with others, very clearly. And, Spirit's saying this is the outcome card of the column, right? The dialogue of skill. Those of you that are following along know this is about Merlin, who had lost his way. He had PTSD, that's what we would call it. And a dear friend of his, a very wise poet, had to go and find him and call him home and have a discussion with him about all the factors of his life, all the things he's been through. And the purpose of that was reintegration. So I believe that it was, Spirit saying it was the manifest power of the eclipse season, but I do think the eclipse season helped pull us apart a little bit. I certainly went through that. And yes, releasing a little bit of Pluto action, if you will. Let's get rid of some of that stuff. Let's help you stand in your power by getting rid of some things that aren't serving you so that you can go through a process yourself in order to take those actions in your own life. Shed and purge and release anything that is not serving you that you're bound to so that this moment can happen. And this is all about reintegration and recapturing your true essence. And what I love in this moment about this card, it's a numeral 2, right? It's a new beginning. When you come home to yourself and you release the past and you heal those psychic wounds that have been troubling you, and I think for water signs, it really is often about psychic wounding, okay? When this dialogue comes with yourself throughout the month, you get to recapture yourself. And, with some loving assistance of your deeper self, of the moon, of the 12th house and the 8th house, you're going deep this month. Okay, and Spirit's talking about going home, right? In order to acknowledge the place in which you live and find the power in that place and begin to become secure in it and understand that in that place of power for you, you begin to have your 5D moments. You begin to move through the experience of the energy that exists all around us in every moment. I happen to be a person who experiences things in many dimensions, and I've come to understand through this eclipse season the real truth of that and what that means. So, I think my new mission going forward is to speak about that a lot. And I've been cloistered, I've been hidden, I don't want to. Again, Virgo, right? It's just time for that to emerge because Spirit's saying the planets support it. So when you think about your own life, understand that there's a lot of support. So I'm gonna toggle back and we're gonna move more deeply into that discussion, Spirit says, all right? So Spirit wants us to focus on the left column of cards. I am gonna start with the rune again. And that, when I first saw this come out, and you look at the column of cards, it's, in a sense, it's no surprise, all right? It's about separation. How do you separate out the different strands of your being and the experiences that you have as you begin to take this adventure into the realm of, I'm going to, people call it raise your vibration, higher energy, all that stuff. I don't think so. I'm going to be arrogant for a minute. Nonsense. It's not higher. It's just different. Okay? It's just different. And as we learn, we're going to learn which one of those energies, whatever you want to call it, right? I did many years of study with a particular type of teacher who was very focused on all the etheric bodies and what music does and how to affect the different levels of etheric body that through which we travel to connect to the divine. So that's what Spirit's talking about, okay? It's that kind of stuff. I don't think that one is better than the other. I don't believe that one is higher than the other. I think they are sets of experiences that we are meant to move through. And my guess is we when we're able to be in alignment with ourselves and come to this moment again, words are power, but so I'll just say awakening, right? And it just means being able to feel it, being able to understand it, and begin to learn about those places. I never would have created Moonrise Cottage if I wasn't standing firmly in my 3D reality. It wouldn't have happened because I would have been too out in the ethers, and I would have had no tolerance for the work and the effort that it would have taken to bring this place. So that's part of what you're being liberated from. Spirit wants you to know. I think that's part of why I'm here, because I try to be so deeply human. It is about being deeply human and understanding all the energies that are available to us and flow through us, and how we can now begin to step into those experiences that have been waiting. Right? So I would love to not put a value judgment on any of that, and to just understand together it's a set of experiences. And I believe our ability to have them unfolds as we shift and change and grow. It's been true in my life. All right, so back to the cards. Or pardon me, back to the room. Let me see what I do with my glasses. Hang on a second. So much stuff on the table. Okay, so the rune of separation. I think we're talking about that stuff that Spirit was just chattering through me, it's about a form of retreat into the deeper places. And that's why the water signs are being sent all into the eighth house and into the 12th house. And the way the moon cycles are happening, and the fact that we're coming to another seasonal transition, it's a moment when you get to go deep in order to have the experience of going deep. And when you do that, it is about separation. It's always true for me. And I don't mean, shutting the world out, but there is some thing that happens that causes you to go into the mystical realm in a sense and maybe be more available to yourself there and less available to what we would call the 3D world. And it may just be in moments, right? I don't think it's going to be all month. I think you're going to begin to experience this way. So generally speaking, this is a time of separating pathways. Old skins must be shed. Outmoded relationships must be discarded. Okay, that's why Spirit wanted to talk so much about relationship as the starting point. I was a little disconcerted about that, but okay, I get it. All right, so when this rune comes out, it's about a peeling away that is called for. It is part of the cycle of initiation. It is a rune of radical severance. The appropriate action here is to submit to the urge and quite possibly the literal retreat in some area of your life, knowing how and when to retreat, and possessing the firmness of will to carry that out. Because you know what? When all the discussion that happened about the center, or not the center row, the row of cards that we just finished, there are endings that happen. They come in a naturally progressive way when we're done with those experiences. So there is both growth and endings. Obviously, I think when you go deep in the ways that the water sign elements are going this month. So, having to do with firmness of will to carry out this form of radical severance and separation. This rune can be associated with real property. Primarily, this is about, Spirit's talking about the aesthetic realm. It is a rune of acquisition and benefits. The benefits that you receive, the inheritance, may be derived from something you must give up. So again, letting go. The eclipse helped us do that, definitely. And Spirit's referencing back to the row of cards that have to do with the water sign element. In order to achieve those states of being and to move into those experiences, you have to let something go, and you'll be able to define in your own life what that means. Spirit says, take a peek into the card that represents your energetic set point for your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, and understand what the implications are through that. What are you letting go of? What are you coming closer to? What is the inheritance that you want? And then you will know what has to be shed in a loving, present, gentle way. All right, so this experience of letting something go, of course, can be particularly demanding when you are called upon to abandon some aspect of your own behavior, a part of your own cultural inheritance. Because in those moments, you must look closely at what, until now, you have proudly claimed as your birthright. So I think you're being sent into this moment of radical severance in order to release the protections that you may have taken on as you move through your life as a water sign element with the type of set point for, okay, Spirit's talking about for damage, for hurt, for woundings at the heart chakra and at the psyche because of your deep sensitivity and the way you do flow into and out of your own life and into and out of other people's lives, and what that journey of flow brings to you. So, whether it is your attachment to your position in society, to the work you do, to the relationships you engage in, or your beliefs about your own nature, separation called for in this moment, meaning going through the month of September, is going to free you to become more truly who you are. And that's always the goal. All right. So if you look at that column, of course it's an adventure. It's the adventure of skill. The skill of going deep and coming home to yourself very deeply. So we're going to go up the column. Spirit's already talking about the bottom row. All right, you know what? I'm going to save that until all the runes come out. So, a new adventure. In order to bring balance. So, we have this adventure of skill. What's the skill set that you're learning or that you want to move into? Pardon me. And the rest of the cards on that column, major arcana. Okay? Deep healing this month. Balance. Coming back into your life. So, Spirit's saying, if you look at how the cards are aligned, pardon me, I have a catch in my throat. The two columns on the left, right? The one that we went through. All the aspects are true for all of the attenuation set points, Spirit says. The deeper nuggets, if you will, are in the alignment of the actual cards. All right. So for a Cancer, you're going on a new adventure. Something is coming into the light through the cycles of the moon, always for a Cancer. It has to do with deep relating, a type of relating that brings transformation. And it's through some kind of a partnership with yourself or with somebody else. So if you are, again, if you're traveling outward to be with someone else on a new adventure, make sure you're really present and you understand the place in which you're coming from in order to have the adventure. Okay? So for a Scorpio, balance. Spirit's laughing. Okay, making fun a little bit, okay? Gentle, loving teasing, like, wow, does a Scorpio need to be balanced? It's all this stuff I talked about. I'm not going to repeat it. But yeah, right? What is the nature of the passion of a Scorpio with all those planets in the 12th house and the 8th house and Venus? And how do you bring balance into that part of your life? I know that a lot of Scorpio people are very out of balance because... in part, it's hard to understand where balance is in that place, isn't it? And what it means to be in balance with yourself and to really understand who you are. So the adventure for a Scorpio this month is about coming into a place of balance deeply within yourself in order to be able to handle the energy that swirls around you. And the deep place in which you go. And look at the way the card looks. I love it. I love it. It's perfect. All right? So, Spirit's saying, Scorpio, being willing to really acknowledge yourself, there is nothing except beauty in the truth of your being. And I think the Scorpio people get a lot of crap, for lack of a better word coming out of me at the moment, about their nature. And Spirit says, you know what? Let it go. Do not be affected by the things that other people say. Be affected by the things that you feel inside of you and the drive that you have for that kind of passion and that kind of union with yourself and with the divine. And understand, you certainly can get there all by yourself. So, we see the image of the sacred lovers there having this ascension experience. And we also see you, interestingly enough, if you see the two cards, the male part of that union looks directly into the balancer of energy. Okay? That's the drive I think that you're going to experience from your male set point. And it is, okay, Spirit wants to talk about the yin and yang for a minute. So that's a female figure, the balancer. The male figure in the couple looks into that. Okay? So perhaps looking into your feminine side to find balance. What is the nature of the yin and yang? There is something there that needs to be balanced within you, within your life, in order to reach the goals and the potentials of the month. Right? So above that, we see the renewer of devotion. I love it. And of course it's standing next to Pisces, isn't it? Pisces, how much do we all love you? Deep healing. That is a card that speaks to going into the sacred cauldron in order to have transformation and healing. And we see, okay, so the figures of the three hooded figures, all right, so the mysteries, right? And many world religions have display of that in one way or the other. Some people call it the triple goddess. Some people call it the sacred brotherhood, if you will. So you can interpret that how you want, but it is about coming into a place of deep compassion and being healed from that rather than being burdened by it. Because Pisces, we know, as is true for all of your cohort, but for Pisces, we know how deep the wounding can be and what it is to be in this place in a human form, and how it is your being needs this healing in order to be in greater alignment with your own capacity for compassion for everyone in the universe. The purpose this month, because of the astrological alignment, is to bring your passion into this kind of a place so that your energy can be seen without bringing on a psychic wounding. I think that's what it's about. The way in which you leap forward and you make this leap into a place of balance for yourself. That's the adventure for you this month. Spirit's talking about attenuating your own energy so that you can come into balance, you can get your healing, and know how it is to wield your own energy and your own power, your own passion, your own mystical understanding. Spirit's saying, look up and down the two columns again and understand how you experience all the things that I've already said. So I think you're coming into a moment where you're beginning to be able to wield the cauldron, if you will, so that your energy can leap forward and be present here. And you can be in a place of strength rather than weakness and depletion. I think that's what it's about. And, as a theoretical point of arrival, right? If we look at how the cards have moved upward, in a sense, it's the Pisces nature that is the destination of a Cancer and a Scorpio, isn't it? It's fascinating to me. Spirit says we're going to have more discussion about that as time goes forward. But all of those motivations that I've talked about, all the desire, all of the decision making, and what it is to be a receptacle for the energy vibration, in a sense, of the cohort. Right? So, guys and gals, understand how you affect each other and be willing to love and honor the set point that your cohort has, and be willing and able to call upon those people when you have some troubles, when you need some help. Go straight into your own element. If you want a therapist, find a water sign therapist, right? Those are the types of things that Spirit's talking about. And it is about going deep, more deeply into your own set point. And of course, the card on the top is the Chariot, right? That's where your strength lies, in this kind of movement. And so, the Chariot sitting next to the dialogue of skill. Spirit is saying, be together now. Right, I'm just going to show you that. There's the Sacred Mother, and there's that beautiful woman who has command of the energies that exist, and she's activated. Right? And I always say this, it's not about the horses. It's about her. It's about her activation. Pardon me, Spirit's telling me. Right? In order to move things forward. And it is movement in an overarching thematic way that describes a water element, isn't it? I'm an earth sign. I stand still. Right in my place. I want to be married to the earth. That's where my security is. Not true for you. So understand the ways in which your energy moves and the blessing of that movement because of the incredible experiences that you have engaging with every place and every living being that exists here. In order, actually, hang on, one more thing. Once you come reintegrated with yourself, then you can, turn the light there, then you can come into this kind of sacred dialogue with other people, right? We know you're healers, whether it's your actual formal profession or just your being, like I said, just go stand on the street corner, watch the cars go by. You will know who needs your energy. Send them a little bit. Try it this month, Spirit says. Just go do it. You have the capacity for connection and flow, right? So I think this is destination in a sense. Understand that there's a purpose for all this radical separation, this 12th house, this 8th house, deep experience that you're going to have so that you can come into yourself in all the ways that I've talked about, all the things that Spirit wants to say. All right. So I actually am going to pause now, take a look at the chat, and I'll toggle back to the cards. Hang on a sec. This takes me a moment to get there. Hi, Marie Antoinette. My God, you've been like constantly on my mind. And yes, we can have a Skype session. Wait, I'll get there. I got to get through the weekend, and I'll tell you all about what's going on here. Juanita, hi. Isabella, Ina, blessed beyond, love that. Hey, Heather. Alice is here. Christina Marie is here. Kimber Kiss. That's awesome. Okay. Christina Marie, great to have you here. Mystic Agent, hey, nice to see you. All right. So let me toggle back because I'm going to resist the urge to get lost in the chat this month because we have a lot more still to do. All right. So that is that, Spirit says. All right. When it comes to all those kinds of messaging about why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. So let's take a look at the column that is the third from the left. All right. So let's see. First, talking about the desire that is held for you, and in which, hang on a second. Okay, so there's a desire on the part of the divine realm, the spiritual realm, the mystical realm, whatever you want to call it, to help you understand sort of the human aspect of this journey that you're having and the kind of desires, pardon me, and impulses that you'll have as you move through the month. Right? So right on the bottom, It's a prophecy card. That's the augury of art. And the rune that is attached to it is the rune for joy. So there is some inner feeling of joy clearly that is coming to you, pardon me, through all this travel. And the fact, obviously, that Spirit would like you to take this up, if possible, with a joyful outlook and sort of in the spirit of celebration because of all the things that are being given and the opportunities that exist. All right. So that beautiful goddess, pardon me, is praying actually over the great cauldron that comes from the mystical realm, the other world in Irish mythology, right? Was given by the great male god, the Dagda, the magician, right? The initiator of energy. So, with that thought in mind, there's a lot of male power, although the card is intensely has to do with feminine energy, bringing forth what is meant to be created, right? So, coming into the augury of the art of your being as a water sign element, as you go through the month, definitely set some intentions. Very definitely. Write yourself some prayers, some incantations, some spells, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Right? Mantras. There are a lot of words for that kind of thing. So this is the rune for joy and light. And I love that. And we see the light in the background. It is about the notion of a fruit-bearing branch. The term of difficulties has ended, and you've come into yourself in some regard. So I just want to make note that, in a sense, it's on the line, the Cancer line, Spirit says. So these notions, true for everybody. Something for Cancer to look more deeply into in their own life. Right? So your period of difficulties has ended in some regard. You come to yourself. The shift that was due has occurred, and now you can freely receive the blessings, whether they are in material gain, in your emotional life, or in a heightened sense of your own deep well-being. This is an alchemical moment in which understanding is transmuted from knowledge. That's beautiful. The knowledge itself was a necessary but not sufficient condition. Now you can rejoice, having been carried across the gap by the will of heaven. Joyousness accompanies new energy, energy blocked before now. Light pierces the clouds and touches the waters just as something lovely emerges from the depths. The soul is illuminated from within at the meeting place of heaven and earth, the meeting of the waters. There is new clarity which may call for you to renounce existing plans, ambitions, or goals. It is proper and timely for you to do so because this is a rune of restoration of the self properly aligned with the self. So Spirit's talking about, think about the notion of separation and radical severance. When you come to these kind of moments, maybe the things that you had planned going forward before you were in this place of balance and knowing your being and acknowledging your being and the astrology assisting you, etc., you might look at some of that stuff and go, yeah, you know what? Not so much. I think I'm done with that. But I have something really exciting that's coming up from within my divine inspiration because I am in a moment when I can manifest my dreams. I am in a set point of the beginning of happiness, the ability to bring forward that which comes from the watery set point of a Cancer. So again, if you're a Scorpio or a Pisces and you're working on something like that, Spirit says just go into your set point and draw forward some of the strings of the Cancer energy this month and know consciously that that's what you're doing and say thank you, right? This is, again, Spirit saying, all that stuff that Mary Ellen's been talking about, the tapestry, now we're going to go deep. We're going in, Spirit says. And this month is the start. So I'm going to continue to shift and change. I'm not sure how things will be in terms of the readings, but I'm enjoying this. I'd love to have your feedback. I think it's awesome and it's where spirit wants to be. All right. So, quest of knowledge, Scorpio. We talked about it. I feel like I don't even really have to say much about that, right? We know the kind of knowledge that you're questing for, and there it is, right? Spirit was talking about looking into the mind of God through a union with yourself. That is your felt internal purpose. Of course, it's more than that, it's deeper than that. It really just has to, Spirit says, all to do with you being you in a very healthy, balanced way. Because you are on a quest in your own particular set point toward, okay, Spirit keeps saying the mind of God. I guess that's how you feel it. I would love some feedback about that. Spirit saying that's how you feel it. That's how it feels to you. You are attempting to travel in that direction. And so, of course, if it has something to do with relationships, that's the purpose of a relationship in your life. So if you know that, which relationship are you going to choose when it comes to yourself and other people? And how are you going to wield the power of a relationship within your family for the people that you love? What is going to be your commitment to them about how you show up in your life and their life? Beautiful. It's, I mean, each set point as we look how gorgeous it is, right? So, ascending, Spirit says from there, impulse. Standing next to Pisces, standing within the water sign cohort, the sacred impulse. And when we see that beautiful salmon having attached itself to its healing and being able to balance its energy to prevent the addition of compounding, Spirit saying, that way that the compounding wounding that actually has been coming through in the Pisces readings out of this channel anyway for a while. When you come into your own healing, the wounds are no longer compounded, and then you're able to respond to the sacred impulse that you have for universal love and bonding and sharing and compassion, and to be able to radiate that into your life. And there's the gorgeous warrior of skill who just stands waiting and actually has a magic wand in his hand, which is kind of cool, right? So what if you had a magic wand? What would you do with it, Pisces? And Spirit's talking about, and everybody else, right? What would you create if you knew it was possible? These are the moments we're standing in. And I love that the horse there is white. It signifies purity of intention. It's not just responding to an impulse. It's responding to an impulse that will take you home to the deepest place that you want to reside in. And above that, we see the gorgeous foundation of knowledge. So if you look up and down that column, this is the direction into which your energy flows. A new foundation. This beautiful, a goddess at each end and male energy in the middle. And you guys know me by now. How much do I love that? It's fantastic. Thank you, Spirit. Right, look. Okay, there she is. A fertile moment when utilizing the power of the sacred male to come into a moment of fertility, right? And stand with the ancients. And it's interesting because Spirit's talking about this. So, we see this. Okay, Spirit's talking about 8 things at once. I'm going to toggle back. Okay, so obviously the rune for flow. The way in which your energy flows through the month as the astrological aspects unfold, pay close attention, right? Know that you can draw from your cohort, ask them, and Spirit saying psychically, okay? Because of the nature of the left-hand column, because of the 12th house and the 8th house, and Mars going forward and Venus being present, this is the moment when all those things can come to the beginnings of fruition. So on the bottom of this column, it's the augury, which is a beginning. It's a literal prophecy of the art of manifesting that which you seek. And of course, what you seek, because you're a water sign, is this quest into the sacred bowl of knowledge, the place where angels and gods reside, so that you can have a moment where you realize and come into alignment with the quest. And there's no question in your mind ever again, or your heart, Spirit says. And because you're on that quest, the sacred impulse comes. So, I love that there's a feminine portal at the bottom of that column. And the feminine desire for manifestation of joy going forward as a new point of existence hands the energy to the male set point and says, here you go. Can you take care of this for me? In a way, and if Spirit's laughing, if you're in a heterosexual relationship, isn't that often how it works? Like, honey, like, I need your help. Can you do this thing for me? Right? It's fun. Spirit says, if you look into human nature and relationships in general, no matter what your sexual orientation is or set point is, doesn't matter. There's always this type of thing going on somehow, right? So again, how is it that we understand ourselves? Which place from within us does the impulse come? What is our driving force? What are we trying to manifest? When do we need the yin or the yang to drive it forward? And I just so especially love that the male energy is being utilized to bring forward the sacred impulse and the presence into the sacred, the mystical, Spirit saying, right? A quest for knowledge, responding to the impulse that arises from the augury of art, the portal, and delivered right back to the portal. It's a fabulous display of yin and yang. And after talking about it for so long, I'm ecstatic that it's coming through the cards this month. Right? Fertile moments on both ends. Strong male energy, clear male energy, healed male energy, present and grounded and clearly motivated from a set point of purity. In order to deliver all of this into the sacred realm, to experience the flow of your set point in a very deep, profound way this month, I believe. Okay, so Spirit saying, so yeah, what's the point of all of that, right? Other than what we've talked about. So in a sense, the last column, I guess, is about the human realm. The kind of things that we experience, the things that we are actually striving toward while all this striving is going on. So on the bottom row, notification for everyone, but particularly I think for people who are under the sign of Cancer, we see this incredible rune about initiation. And there we see this card that is a revelation card, the revelation of knowledge. Spirit wants me to show it to you. Hang on a second. There it is. Okay, hang on. We've seen this a lot. I've seen this a lot coming forward these last few months because, I guess because of the journeying that's been going on. So there we see this warrior. He's been transforming over many eons. He finally comes to a moment. He's had the stamina for the journey. He's looking toward the sun. He's coming across the water and in lots of different life forms. And then finally has an emergence moment. And in that moment, he has some internal, Spirit saying, revelation within himself about what it's all been about and how beautiful it has actually been, despite all the difficulties and all the shift and change, and what a miracle to finally arrive in my spot. Here I am. Look what I had to go through to get here. But you know what? I'm awesome. And I had the stamina for the journey, and I've reached the destination that brings that was brought forward by the prophecy, and into which the prophecy is meant to deliver you. There's a new journey coming. Obviously, we've seen it in all these ways. Okay, so Cancer, where are you going? I'd love to know if you're here. Put a little message on the thread. Okay, love it. All right, so I'm going to toggle back and I'll read from the book about initiation. Obviously, it's about a very deep form of stepping in. And one of the things I love about the fact that this came forward, the room came forward on this particular card in this particular way, it's about coming into this place. Look at the far left, right? There's the adventure. Then there's union, communion, communication, in order to bring forward a prophecy about your soul and all of its incarnations. And here you are in this lifetime, reaching a moment that was destined because of the prophecy, wound up in the adventure that you've been having for a long time. I love that, right? So this is Perth. It's about initiation, something hidden that emerges now, and that's why it's the revelation of knowledge. Things are being revealed to you. Obviously, it's about sort of secret, sacred matters, right? This is a mystery room. Sort of about a hierarchy of the way we move through our lives, right? It's an endpoint and therefore a new beginning. It points to having been sort of moving through all the things that are beyond our manipulative powers. No matter, that saying about, life is what happens on the way to where your other plans were. Spirit's saying it's kind of like that. That's the experience that you've been having. And you arrive here in these moments in a Cancer life point. And in order to come through this journey this way to this moment, that's culminating in the month of September after all the eclipses are done. So it is about being on the side of heaven, the unknowable. Perth has associations with the phoenix, the mystical bird which consumes itself in fire and then rises from its own ashes. The ways and workings of this energy are secret and hidden. Powerful forces of change are at work in your life. Yet what is achieved is not easily or readily shared. After all, becoming whole and the means of it is a profound secret. Absolutely. And you know what, in a sense, we can all tell our story, and I think Cancer for you this month, that would be great. But you just can't, there are parts of it that remain within you and you don't feel the urge to speak them. And I would encourage you to honor that this month, even if it's just for the month. Because clearly you're being sent deep. So enjoy that place. Be there with yourself. You don't have to share it with anybody if you don't want to. So on the side of the earthly or mundane, there may be surprises, gains and rewards that you did not anticipate, and it is because the rune for radical severance is in the beginning, on the left side, right? Severing, adventuring, going deep in order to gain your inheritance. On the side of human nature, this rune is symbolized by the flight of the eagle. Soaring flight, free from entanglements, lifting yourself above the endless ebb and flow of ordinary life to acquire broader vision, all that has been indicated here. Absolutely. And one of the manifestations in the backstory of that card is this warrior at one point did morph into the form of, I think it was a hawk, actually. But, that kind of bird energy is about sacred wisdom, bringing messages, effortless flight into the divine, things like that. So as another of the cycle runes, Perth stands at the heart of the concept of initiation. In a sense, nothing external matters here, except as it shows you your own inner reflection. This rune is concerned with the deepest stratum of our being, the bedrock on which our destiny is founded. For some, birth means experiencing a death. If need be, let go of everything, no exceptions, no exclusions, nothing less than renewal of spirit is at stake. Absolutely true. I think I've said this a bunch of times, but just because of where we're at, I'm not going to talk about it again just for a moment. If you're out there and you're coming to an initiation or you just feel it, if you feel, go for it. Get some guidance, get some help. You may feel that you don't need it because of this 12th house, 8th house. I mean, there's so much going on, sending you all deep. Okay, so my recommendation would be to create a place for yourself. It might be in your apartment. Okay, allow yourself to have a ritual. It's important to make it clear and real and honest, Spirit says, for yourself. So there's a moment of stepping in. Okay, I see what Spirit's talking about. All right, so Spirit's talking, all this talk about releasing and radical severance. When you have an initiation, if you create an initiation ceremony for yourself because you have no help and you don't have the money to pay for it, whatever, right? Or if you want to come here, hit me up, Spirit says, because that's what I'm going to start doing. It's time. So, especially if you're a woman, women, men, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure that as a woman I want to. We'll talk more about that. I just not under certain circumstances, okay? Probably better to be with your own physical identifier, I guess, in a sense. So, make yourself some kind of a circle or a star. I don't care what the shape, doesn't matter. A place. Make yourself a portal so that you can step from the mundane world into the portal, into the entryway. When you are in there, release everything. And if you really want to go deep, take all your clothes off, right? Just be naked. Stand there. Let go of your name. Let go of your desires. Let go of your identification. Let go of everything that you understand about yourself, including the fact that you're a human. Let it go. And when you feel it has all dropped away from you, then you can step into the cycle and into the circle for an initiation. Go there, an empty vessel, like we see on the line of this cards, so that you can have the experience it's meant to have, radical severance, to go deep out into the universe, to rediscover yourself, your whole self, Spirit says. And from that place, you begin to manifest your destiny. And you come back whole and ready to move through the cycle that's meant for you. So I think it's a great month, given all the aspects that are here, to go have an initiation. Okay, I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to have my second one. I'm going to make a video. I'll tell you about it. Okay, so how phenomenal is that, right? And interesting. On the Cancer line, we have this augury, a new beginning, a prophecy. And on the line that, in a sense, talks about Scorpio, we have this another prophecy, the beginning of sacred battle. And Scorpio, we know it's a battle with yourself. It's a battle with the sacred realm. Okay. So this male energy, what this person is doing is, again, spells, incantations, prayers, mantras, with the purpose of becoming ready to put your hands on the sword of victory, so that you can finish your transformation and step into the next phase of it. Okay? So, actually, let me toggle back. Hang on. So, look at what the augury of battle prophecy looks into. It is the quest. And that man, that beautiful warrior, who's on his quest, you see he's got a sword. There you go. You are supporting yourself in a way that's really beautiful this month. And, it's a time when it's one of those moments, I think, because of initiation, because of all the things, right? All the things, Spirit said, that she said, meaning me. You can be who you are, Scorpio. It's bringing tears to my eyes. You can be who you are. Rest there. Know that that's where you are. Acknowledge it for yourself so that you can begin to acknowledge it for others. Because if you're looking for your mission, that is where you'll find it. That's the other thing about this, all right? That we're going to, this whole notion of 3D and 4D and 5D and all that kind of stuff. When you come to a place of acceptance that you, I'm getting all choked up, that you are your purpose, the beauty that you have, just in the way you came through, is so profound. And it is there that you find your mission if you want one, right? The first step is being who you are and understanding it in a really deep, profound way and coming into a twin flame relationship with yourself. Do it. Spirit says that to me. Just do it, right? That's been sort of my path, right? Just do it. And I'm lucky. I've got Aries driving me forward, right? So, while you're going, let me just self-acknowledge for a minute. While you're going through all this stuff that you guys are going through, that's what I'm doing. I think we're all doing it in a certain way, right? So basically, Spirit is telling me, all right, put the sword down. You know yourself that way really well, don't you? I dare you, put it down. So if you're trying to get an Aries to do something, just make a dare, right? So I'm putting the sword down. Spirit says it's the same with you guys. Right? Be who you are. Your mission comes from within your purpose, and your purpose is yourself. Spirit says it's actually really simple. You don't have to strive. You just have to know. And once you know, you can begin to understand. And the flow that is meant for you, unimpeded. And then everything blossoms from there. Okay? So, back to the cards. Pisces, look who's looking at you and your sacred impulse and your intention. Look at that. The queen of knowledge. Okay? Here to weave the strings of the destiny of the entire water sign set point. All right? Clearly, sitting suspended in the universe, looking into the destination point, the Pisces energy, in a sense. Okay, if I can get there we go. All right. Weaving your destiny, suspended in the universe, and look across the row of cards. Let me toggle back. Do you see where your sacred cauldron is out in the universe? And again, Spirit wants you to understand the implications, the impulse, the indication for your particular set point, and how it affects and how it needs the support and the love of the rest of the water sign element. And above that, we see this gorgeous, again, male energy. It's really interesting to me, the interplay, Spirit says, of the male and female energies here. So do pay close attention to yourself, kind of what I was just talking about. Know that which inhabits you and what the impulse that comes from that place is, and wind that discussion with yourself deep into the discussion of this reading. All right. Okay, so beautiful male energy, fire, passion, foundation. All right, building something new. There it is. The foundation of skill. A really beautiful, very powerful, strong, clear intention. Male energy with clear intention. And you know what? Naked from the waist up. Not afraid of the fire. Standing firm and wanting to be open at the will center, at the heart center, at the throat chakra, in order that all these things can go forward, and looking so intently with vision into the mystery of what's being created at the forge of your intention. I love it. I, I'll tell you what, I kind of wish I was a water sign, maybe in my next lifetime. So give me some advice about that, because wow, you guys are rocking it, right? All right, so here's the outcome. Of course, we've been talking about it for what time is it? 1:55. Yeah, 2 hours. The Lover, major arcana, a lot of power, a lot of energy in this message, okay, as an outcome. The Lover of devotion. And that's what it's all about if you're a water sign. I know. I know how I experienced that as an earth sign. And you know what? It's true for all of us. And we each bring some piece of the elemental pie, so to speak. That's why we're weaving the tapestry. That's why we have to begin to learn about ourselves and who we really are and how we reside. How does your soul reside within your set point? How does that fact bring forward your purpose? And how does that purpose bring forward your mission? That is why the type of discussion that's been coming through me has been coming. We're going to begin. I actually have already started with the help of somebody else. The tapestry, Spirit intends to ignite the tapestry. So it's happening in 1,000, okay, Spirit's saying 1,000 million different ways. Obviously, those of us that are drawn together in this place that resonate with each other, we have the pleasure of doing that. And you know what? Mystic Agent Spirit's talking to you. We have to get together. Okay? For all the reasons you know. So there's this beautiful feminine energy, right? The portal. So if you're thinking about your purpose and your mission, and you stand in your life in your devotion, right? If you show up in your life in that place, the place where devotion resides within you, to ponder your mission, you will easily be able to choose your path. You will not be conflicted. And you will give yourself time and permission to have your understanding and your decision making come from the abundance that's in your heart and in that place. Right? Look at that clarity. There are a lot of things that pull on us in the Spirit's talking about within the course of a lifetime. A lot of things. Spirit's talking about the temptation of distraction when we're not standing in this way in our lives. So for you folks, the water, the purpose of water, Spirit wants you to ponder that this month and what that has to do with your devotion and how you experience it, how you apply it, how you drive it forward, what's the impulse that comes. And within the attenuation of the strings of the energy. Right? Oh, I just had a realization. Okay. Focus there. All right, Spirit's just cutting me off. All right, I'm going back to the cards. Hang on. Look at the left side column. I get it, Spirit. Sorry. Wow. Okay, see that? That is the display of the discussion about the triad of the water element and the healing that comes and the way you move into and out of the cauldron. Okay. So the whole discussion about, all right, so first of all, everything that I said, I stand by it, all right? But there's more, it's deeper, okay? So the reason Spirit's talking about relationships and twin flames and soulmates and past life, all that stuff, you guys, it's easy for you. I'm jealous, okay? You see that? And Spirit's talking about your relationship with the triad of your energy. The way it brings healing and the way you are able to access all the strengths of the water sign element and the deep, reverent hush of the moment when you realize and you begin to come into relationship with that. So this month going forward, Spirit saying, Mary Ellen's human request is do your own journey first. And when you feel ready, begin to connect energetically with the triad, the triple flame. Spirit saying, forget the twin flame. That's like old news. Okay, my spirit guides, because of who I am, are snarky. Okay. No disrespect to anybody. I get that it's real for people. Right? So there's more than that that's available. We're still going to be here, human beings walking around on the earth. But it's just time to go a little deeper, to explore a little deeper, to quest a little deeper in order to bring this kind of balance that we're looking for, right? So that I got a new stand for my computers, and all the cards are underneath, right? So that you can reach this moment of passion and creation and forge what is meant to come from you when you step onto your mission path, because you have found your purpose. And you believe for the first time, maybe, that you are your purpose and you understand the deepest implications of that. So that's a wrap on this reading. Oh, it's a little after 2. I'm going to stop the video here and clip this off for the folks who just want to watch the video as a video. And thank you for being here. Spirit says, be with us this month for this. Okay? Come all the way in, light the fire. What would you like to create? It's your moment. It's the beginning of a moment. Okay? So I'm going to toggle back to the cards. Let you look at that for just a moment. And then I'm going to go have some fun on the chat with whoever might be there. And if you're there on the chat, thanks for being patient. So have a wonderful month, you beautiful water sign element people. I love being around you. I love feeling your energy. And you just do have this energetic presence of flow. And that's why people love being around you. So that's your purpose. Step deeply in. Go to the spirit realm. Have a discussion about all the things that you heard here. Take what resonates. Toss the rest. Become who you are. And I look forward to seeing you in October.